Hey guys, thank you for coming back to my part 2 of my Get Ready With Me series. Today I'm going to be showing you in this video how I blow dry my hair from wet to dry, what I use product wise, and my techniques of how to gain as much volume as possible. Really quickly guys, I forgot to add the products that I'm using for blow drying. So I am using this blow dryer. It's from Babyliss Pro TT. It's not that great. I'm not gonna tell you to go out and buy it because it's just a blow dryer I have at home. It doesn't work the best. Maybe because I'm used to a more strong professional blow dryer at work on a daily basis, but it does get the job done and I do like it. So it's Babyliss Pro TT. Show you right there. Same with my flat iron. My flat iron at home is not super special. It is by GVP. So it is a pretty popular brand. It does work well, just not as good as the ones we use at work. I believe at work I use a Suji flat iron. It's absolutely amazing. My favorite one so far. This one was much more affordable. So it's what I have at home. It's what I'm gonna use until they all die on me and I can replace them. Also, I wanted to mention the brush I was using. It's called Heat Pro Ceramic and Ion. It's by Olivia Garden. And this is HP 62. So I believe that's like the size. And I want to say it's probably like 2.5 inch barrel round brush. And there is the brand name. If you want to see how I blow dry and style my hair, just keep watching.
Alright guys, we're going to jump right into this. Once you've had your hair washed and ready to go, you're going to want to apply your favorite styling product. I'm using Living Proof Full Root Lifting Spray. And I'm just taking about 1-inch sections throughout and spraying as I go. I like to just massage everything through and make sure I get an even distribution throughout. Once your product's been evenly distributed throughout your hair, you're going to want to take your hair and part it just above the ears all the way through and clip up the top portion. So for this first section, you're not going to worry too much, about any volume. It's the lowest section of your hair. Gravity does its work anyway, so you don't have to worry too much about that. You just want to focus on smoothing and shaping. So as you can see, I bring my brush through and I spin. That's definitely something that takes practice. Even just holding a brush and blow dryer can be difficult for some people, so the more you practice, the better you will get. But as you can see, I don't let the hair fully come off the round brush, every time. I like to spin it, roll it up, drag it down, spin it, roll it up, drag it down, and that just gets you smoothness and shape as you blow it out dry. And just repeating the same thing on the other side. You want to focus on your roots, make sure you get those really dry. Often we leave the hair slightly damp without realizing because it feels hot to the touch, but it's actually still pretty moist. So you want to make sure you remove all moisture, otherwise it won't take its shape in the way you intend it to, and it may start to frizz up or even curl up depending on how much texture you have in your hair. So we're just going to move on to the next section. I'm taking just where my hairline peaks back all the way around like a horseshoe again, and you just want to clip that up and secure it. So for this next section, I'm already going to start to work on the volume. For some people, you may have heavier hair and may not want to waste the time working on volume in this section because the weight of your hair will weigh down regardless. But for me, I have medium hair. It's not fine, but it's not thick either. So I'm going to go ahead and start working on that. And basically, for each section of hair that I'm blow drying, I place my brush directly at the root. I spin it a little to grab some tension in the hair. And then I drag as I did in the previous section, but I'm pulling the hair up and away from its natural fall because I'm trying to manipulate it in the opposite direction. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. Again, if you see I start at the root, make sure that root is nice and dry. Spin, drag, spin, drag. Practice makes perfect. Rolling the brush with your fingers, like spinning the brush when you get to the ends, like majority of the section is now dry and you're really just trying to smooth out those ends, makes a huge difference. If you can nail that gesture down and just work on the finger movement of spinning at the ends, it really makes a huge difference in a blow dry. But also my favorite trick with blow drying, and if you're one of my clients you'll know this, I like to use the cold shot button a lot. And so for every section that I've dried, I go in, as I'm doing right now, I'm holding the section rolled up and just holding the cold air on it. I explain later in the video the whole concept behind cold shot and why it's a great little tip to use, kind of like the science behind it. If you want to stay tuned to the end, and you'll kind of get a little tip on how I like to secure my volume, if you will. Now I'm going to go ahead to the final section of my hair. Please excuse my haircut. Haven't cut it since August. It's cut for a different style, so it's long in the front, shorter in the back, but no longer a bob. Okay, so for the front, I'm just creating a triangle. I mean, something like a triangle, but I'm basically taking the front section of my hair, and I'm going to blow out in the same concept as I did every other section. You start at the root, you spin a little bit to get that tension and control. But what I'm doing is I'm blowing in the opposite direction that my hair will naturally fall. If you have bangs, you want to do this before anything else. So before you start the lowest section of your hair, you're going to want to do this part first, because bangs tend to have their own position. You want to make sure it doesn't dry too much where you can no longer manipulate it to fall how you want. So that's another tip. People with bangs, do this part first and then start from the bottom, work your way up. Just going in again with that cold shot like I mentioned. And for that last back part, it's sectioned off, or I'm going to section it off into 3 sections. Count how many times I say sections in this video and you may win a prize. So that last section you can divide however you need to based on how much hair you have. If I had more hair, I would divide it into a proper 3 sections, but see how that last one I dropped is fairly small. I know I am only going to do 2 sections here because my hair isn't very thick and my brush is big enough to execute both sections. So in this area, I'm also following the same suit. Brush at the root, make sure it's dry, and I'm blow drying in the opposite direction that my hair falls. I know your arms can get tired, so as you see right here, I'm kind of just tilting my head to the side so that I just got to stretch my arm outward and not upward. So do whatever you got to do, but like I've said throughout, practice makes perfect. So the more often you do this, the more you'll get the hang of it. This last section I should have spent a bit more time on, but man was I pooped. I'm done after this last piece, and I'm gonna go ahead and do an overall cold shot all over my hair. So I'm going to hold down that cold shot button and just go throughout my entire head in the opposite direction of, holding the blow dry right at my root and pushing my hair in the opposite direction of how it's going to fall. And that just kind of sets the hair into a voluminous state.
pro tip, or should I say flat-haired complex tip. Once you've done this blowout, if you are not ready to get out the door, which most of you shouldn't be at this point, considering the circumstances, what I like to do is get a clip, hair clip, just like this. And sometimes I'll take all of my hair above my ears, but it's not really necessary as gravity kind of does its thing, but definitely this top portion of my hair. So I'll just run my fingers back through it loosely and just kind of lift my hair loosely off of my root, and then I'll clip it up. So I'll place the clip, hopefully you guys can see, kind of right where the part is, drag it up a bit, reach over to the other side, and kind of just secure it like this. Kind of like old school Jersey Shore Snooki vibes. And then I'll just, if I did my hair before bed, I'll wear it like this to sleep. Or if I just did my hair and I have some things I gotta do before I run out, I'll clip it like this. However long you can leave it like this, you'll get a lot more bounce and lift at the root, and it should last longer. Because the trick is, and the reason why we use cold shot, or I personally use cold shot a lot during my blow dries, is the water and the heat. As you style and dry, you're manipulating the molecule of the hair to form whatever shape you want it to, including volume. So when you're going against your root, you want it, because you're trying to force the hair this way so that it has a bit more bounce. However, the blow dryer is so hot that when you're done manipulating it the way you want it, the hair itself is still hot. And so as it starts to fall and however it lays, it's gonna cool off that way. And only once it's cool is when it locks into place. So I like to use the cold shot at the root after each section to kind of lock in that lift. And then same goes for this. So my head overall is fairly hot right now from the blow dry. And so even though my hair to the touch is cool, there's still a lot of heat circulating. So that's why by clipping it up like this, you're now allowing your hair to cool down in this position, which is upright and away from your scalp. That way when it's completely cooled down and you let it down, it'll have a lot more lift and bounce to it. So that's my tip for the day. Let me know if you guys tried it yourself, and I'd love to see if it works for you. All right guys, thanks for watching my How I Style My Hair part 2 of my Get Ready With Me series. Next will be how I flat iron my hair, so if you want to know how I do that and whatever tips I might have for you, stay tuned for part 3.